Hi everybody. So today we're going to do another Q&A. A couple weeks ago asked on Instagram for you guys to send me your questions. You totally did. I just lost it. Hold on. You totally did. Oh my goodness. I will do my best to answer what I have not answered before. Let's get right into it. Who have you been inspired by in the past year? Couple of people. One is Lauren Lovett. I think she and I were both in an article in the New York Times talking about moving forward and the body shaming in ballet. And honestly, we've had our own little private conversations about it. And the fact that we both this year are on these campaigns of like dancing for us and having our careers for us. I don't know, just reading her posts, it helps me stay in my frame of mind of, yeah, you're on the right path. Seeing her leave her principal role at principal contract at New York City Ballet for herself, I mean, that's huge. So we're both sort of on that path, and I just really appreciate reading her posts and such. Also, Megan Fairchild. If you don't know, Megan Fairchild's another principal with New York City Ballet who just had twin girls. So she has her toddler little girl and now two twin girls. God bless you, Megan. Just think she's amazing. And she just sort of does it with, no big deal. And then thirdly, all of you, honestly, hearing your stories, hearing what you guys are going through and talking to me about it, it just, I don't know, it inspires me hearing what you're doing, hearing how strong you guys are. But you always inspire me. So I would say that. Would you do a style update? I would love to. I mean, I am actually going to YAGP finals, and from what I understand, I am the host. I'm sort of the on-camera personality. I believe the whole thing is going to be live streamed. So I'll be sort of, for lack of a better term, like the commentator, like the NBC commentator kind of thing, but for finals for Youth America Grand Prix. So I plan to vlog it. I plan to do a whole fashion thing with it. So maybe we can work that in there somehow. But yeah, if you guys want to watch the Youth America Grand Prix finals, I'll be the on-camera person, I guess. I'm not even sure. It hasn't been fully explained to me. All I know is I'm going and I'm the host. So maybe I'll do some style in there as well. You figure out who you are in your 30s. You really do. And I've really started to figure out who I am. So I can do a whole style thing if you're interested. Let me know. What is one correction you give a lot when judging competitions? Okay. Number one, transitions. How you get in and out of steps. Do you schlump on the stage? Do you place your feet? Do you do tombe pas de bras glissade with a turned in glissade before a beautiful soda straw? Transitions are so important because that's one of the things that takes your dancing from amateur to professional. That's for anybody, transitions. The other one is port de bras. I find as a judge for all of us, in speaking to other judges and speaking with Chris, we kind of judge on what we're good at. So for me, the épaulement, the port de bras is so important. I don't care if you can do 8,000 pirouettes. If you come out and look like this doing Black Swan, I do not care. So for me, it's the port de bras. I've said it in actually all three coaching videos I've done, which if you haven't seen, I'll link it in the card. All three YAGP coaching videos. I've been talking about reaching to your fullest line. I write that a lot because so many people not in camera, but they stop their arabesque short or they stop the Alsacone short. And I want you to absolutely reach because it reads better on stage. Not only does it make the line look better, but you reach the back row. So for me, it's transitions and all this stuff. It's so important. Your épaulement, your port de bras, dance bigger. I think I write that all the time. Great question. Do you have any tips for a trainee, apprentice, or second company member hoping for a company position? Fantastic question, because now Chris and I were actually talking about this the other day. In our day, in my generation, it was people were hired right into ballet companies at 16, 17, 18. Like if you were not hired at 16, 17, 18, you're too old. Nowadays, that is so not the case anymore. Nowadays, almost every company has some sort of apprenticeship, trainee program, such and such 2, ABT 2, Ballet West 2, Nashville Ballet 2. So there's so many extra steps nowadays for dancers to get into companies, and now dancers are getting hired more in their early 20s. So the whole trainee apprenticeship second company thing is very, very real. And so one of the things that I've been telling dancers lately with this new system is you've got to get it started. Don't wait till you're 19 or 20 to look into a trainee program. Start looking at trainee programs, when you're younger, 16, 17, 18, because then you'll have to do the trainee, you'll have to do the second company, and then, it's a longer process now. Now, if you are already that age, don't panic, just get it started. But once you're in one of those programs, the dancers I see who are getting hired, and there is still an element of aesthetic, height, the look of the company, the style of the dancer, but really you have to be dependable, know everybody's part, be able to step in like that. Who knows this? One of my dear friends is now getting into Ballet West, the main company. Hi, Claire. And she's been in Ballet West too for a couple of years. And she's one of those dancers who, all right, so-and-so's out, put Claire on. Like, Claire can step in and do it and do anybody's part, and it doesn't matter what side it is. Oh, it's the opposite side, it's fine. She's so quick, and she just got her main company contract because not only is she a stunning dancer, but she's reliable. And you've got to be adaptable. You've got to be able to do different styles. If you're beautiful in Swan Lake, that's wonderful, but can you also do Forsyth? Can you also do Balanchine? Can you also do, so it's one of those things that it's not just about how you dance. It's, are you adaptable? Are you easy to work with? Do you have a good attitude? Are you a person who applies corrections? Because all of those things show directors how you're going to be as an employee, not just as a dancer. Are you going to be a good employee? And so that, especially when you're young, is super important. You've got to be dependable, you've got to be versatile, and you've got to be somebody they want to work with. So start, just being aware of that. Do you have any thoughts or advice on networking for freelance dancers? Okay, for all dancers actually, not just for freelance dancers. As much as even I, being very much on the internet, being very much on social media, it's a necessary evil now. You've got to have an Instagram. You've got to be able to, yes, a resume is important, but remember, people have very short attention spans. And so if you're auditioning for somewhere, if you're a freelance person and they want to bring you in, do you think they're going to bother reading your resume? What's easier, reading the resume or going to your Instagram account? Instant. Seeing what you look like. Instant. So for all dancers, ballet companies, slightly different. Really, ballet company directors are not so much in the Instagram game on social media, but it's still very important because Instagram and all of your social media accounts are like a visual resume. Unlike in my day where you brought in your resume and it says, I did snow clean when I was 15. I could have been terrible. They wouldn't have known. So nowadays, start viewing your Instagram as almost a visual resume. That's sort of what I've been doing recently. I'm very fortunate in the position that I'm in with YouTube and everything and the titles I've had in the past, but I still like to show people on my Instagram account, I can still dance, I'm still in shape, this is what I'm doing. That's why, you guys, if you go to my Instagram and you see any of the IGT videos I do, like the recent one was Who Cares, or some of the improvs, or all the Don Q solos I did, in the description, I say filmed on. So people know it's not filmed from 4 years ago. So like the recent one I just did with Who Cares, filmed on April, whatever it was, 2021. So start viewing your Instagram as a visual resume. Yes, you can post personal things on there if you want to, but remember, anybody can find out anything nowadays. Anywhere. So many, even if you're a non-dancer, people who are hiring will go to people's Facebooks and see what their photos look like. And if there's a ton of party pictures with you looking obnoxious, there might not, I've seen people not get hired because of that. So just start viewing social media as your own personal brand. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are your own personal brand, whether you are a freelancer, whether you are in the commercial world, whether you're in the ballet world, you're your own. And that's one of the great reasons of having social media and the age that we live in, is so you can have that now. It's not necessarily about having the most followers in terms of the ballet world, but show people you're dancing, show people what you look like. Don't just post photos, FYI, because as I've said in the past, photos can be edited. Videos is real time. You know, even if you can splice it together like I sometimes do, even if you splice videos together, it's still real time. It's still what you look like in real time. It's not a photoshopped version of you where your foot looks better and you put your leg higher. Make sure there's a mix of photos and videos on your Instagram. And so when you're being considered for a position or a freelancer, you can just send them to your Instagram and it's a visual resume. So that's how I would start viewing that. What is your biggest motivation to help students? Honestly, I have gotten such a passion lately of helping everybody because I wish I had had that when I was younger. I wish I had felt like there was somebody I could relate to, somebody who was going through the same things I did. Because, you know, like I've said in previous videos, when I was young, all we got were what was in Dance Magazine, Point Magazine, and Dance Spirit Magazine. That was our news. And of course, everything in the magazine is beautifully shot and beautiful articles and this and that. And so I remember thinking every principal ballerina, every dancer in a company had it made and everything was wonderful. And look how they look in the tutu. I wish I had known more of what it really took, more of the struggles, which is why I will forever, ever be grateful to Jennifer Ringer. When I was first diagnosed with my illness and gained a ton of weight in New York City Ballet, Jennifer Ringer took me under her wing and just simply went to coffee with me. And just having her to say, yeah, I've been there. I've been through struggles. That meant everything to me. And so that's what I try and do through this YouTube. That's what I try and do through things on Instagram and Facebook and when I teach live classes too. It's more than just the steps for me. When I teach a master class, I try and get the dancers motivated and go across the floor and remember to do this for you. I mean, one of the things I love to give is I say, all right, go to the corner and going across the floor 2 by 2, make it up. Peek and turn, soutenu, fouettes, I don't care. And they look at me, I'm like, there's a point to this. And then they start flying across the room, they start turning, they throw doubles in, they do, you know. And then I'm like, see what happens when you dance for you? How much better you turn, how much more fun it is. So I like to gear classes like that nowadays because everybody knows they should turn out. Everybody knows their feet need to be pointed. Everybody know, you know, like that's so like, here's another person telling us to point our feet. Not helpful. So for me, I love getting to the mental side of it and hopefully kind of coming at it from a different angle because I remember being that kid. I remember being there and it's tough. So that's a huge passion of mine. Did you ever do other forms of dance other than ballet? Oh yeah, I did jazz for a while. And I did like all those competitions like Trainees and NYCDA and all that stuff. Those videos are somewhere. I should have mom pull them out and put them on here just so we can all make fun of me just because I did like the whole like air bite thing and the jazz. Oh yeah. But once I turned 15, I was like, yeah, I want to do ballet. But there were so many times on stage and in certain ballets that I was so grateful to have jazz training. Who Cares, Slaughter on 10th Avenue, all the Balanchine stuff. There's so many moments that I was like, thank God for jazz training because it just it got me into that. And you need that. It's not all Swan Lake anymore, especially nowadays with all the new choreography. The more styles you guys can master or at least take classes in, the more versatile you're going to be. A lot of you are asking whether or not I'll join another ballet company. We'll see. You guys, I am so very fortunate to be in the position that I am now to quite literally be able to perform on my own terms. And I'm very, very excited and passionate about Kathryn Morgan and Friends. I am now Kathryn Morgan Incorporated. We have a lot of plans with that. Some of you are asking, are you ever going to do merchandise? When is the first tour? Pandemic kind of threw a wrench in that, but it is happening. I already have 3 Nutcracker gigs already planned. So I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to still perform without being in a company. And I'm going to try, I think right now, I'm going to try and go that route. I have a lot of guesting opportunities that have presented themselves. And honestly, there is nothing like being your own boss. and dancing on your own terms. And right now, that's sort of where I see myself. Being able to work more closely with all of you and meet all of you and teach all of you and perform with you and sort of do it all that way. You know, it's also going back to the social media thing. Being in a ballet company is not the only way to be a successful dancer nowadays. So things are presenting themselves in a way that I don't think I'm going to have to get back in a company to still be on the stage. And right now I want to pursue that. Chris and I have some plans with things, and my Kathryn Morgan and Friends thing is starting to explode. So I know all of you want me to get back into a company, and I really appreciate that. But I think what that really translates to is you want me back on the stage, which is going to happen. Like I said, I already have 3 or 4 Nutcracker gigs ready to go. So, and I'm just so excited about it. So I'll still be dancing. I'll still be on the stage, but I really believe I can do it on my terms now. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm going to see where this can go first before I say yes or no to ever joining a company again. And I'm really excited about it. And I think the other great thing about this is it gives me more freedom to post more on here. You have to remember, when you're in a ballet company, the ballet company comes first. The ballet company rules. And so you're not allowed to show a lot of rehearsals or a lot of performances. And I would love to, with the Kathryn Morgan and Friends tour, document all of it, maybe live stream it. So if you can't be there in person, you can see it here. And that would so not be an option with a company. So I'm really excited to kind of forging my own path at this point. No, do I have a current title of soloist with such and such? No, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm really excited with what's to come, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. Okay, a lot of you say, what do you want to change in the ballet world? What are some of the toxic things in the ballet world? I think we've covered that. But one person said, I'm a mother of a 5-year-old, and I'm scared to put her in ballet. Should I? Because of what she's heard with the mental health and the crazy and all of that. I'm hoping by the time your daughter is in the position and the age to be considering whether or not to be a professional, things will have started to change. This is not going to be fast. But I encourage you, mothers and fathers of boys and girls who are considering whether or not to be in dance. If your child expresses interest in music or movement or whatever, go ahead and try it. You know, you might as well see if they love it. Doesn't mean they're going to be a professional dancer. They might be in a place where they never have to deal with any of this. So if they express some sort of interest in dance or ballet or movement, don't deny them that. Try it, you know, and just make sure if they do decide this is something they want to do, if this is something you want to do, that you become that voice of don't lose your joy. You're beautiful no matter what happens. You're more than what you see in the mirror. You know, you be that voice that you wish the ballet world had. And if you as the parent be that for your child, it's going to be a much better experience. So don't see, and this is what I've talked about so many times with the art form dying, because so many parents are now worried. I don't know if I want to put my kid in ballet. This is how it eventually fizzles out. And so try it. But you commit to being the voice that they need to hear. And it'll be a much better experience. That would be my advice. And don't deny a child ballet if they show interest in it. You know, you might as well try it. Do you have any tips for maintaining your alignment when one leg is just a little bit longer? I feel ya. I have the same problem. My right leg is longer than my left leg. Step 1 is to be aware of it. Obviously, know that one leg is longer than the other. But the most important thing is to keep the hips level. And sometimes you do have to compensate for one leg being longer than the other. However, you need to make sure that the alignment is always pulling up. Because the minute one hip dips or you dip backwards, then your pelvis gets thrown off, and then it really makes a difference. So for me with the right leg, I just have to pull up even more on that hip, knowing it is longer. It's easier for me when my right leg is the working leg than when it's the standing leg. Just how it is. So the first thing is to be aware of it, which you already are. But don't worry so much about, oh my gosh, it's so much longer. That can end up throwing you off. Just be aware of it. And while you're being aware of it, make sure you're not dipping. Because what I see with dancers with one leg longer than the other is they start dipping to try and shorten it. But then what ends up happening is you overcompensate. So it's just more of thinking the hips even and finding your alignment no matter where you are. And it's individual for everybody. So just make sure you're not overcompensating in weird ways. Just lengthen up out of the spine, lengthen up out of the torso. Remember, it's not a tuck, it's not an arch. It's just lengthening up. And on the longer leg, you have to lift up even more, unfortunately. How has the pandemic changed you as a dancer and a person? And some of you have asked, how has COVID changed the way you look at what you do? I think what it's done for everybody is really show us what our priorities are. You know, you see what's so important. So many dancers are retiring because they realize that they aren't happy, they aren't doing it for themselves, and they want to do something else. And I think that's the way to look at this. See what, life is short. So if you have a passion for something, pursue it. So if you realize that ballet is it, go for it. If you realize that ballet is not it, that's fine. Get out, So I think for me, it's just shown me my priorities, which is family, and in terms of my career, is like I said earlier, doing it on my terms and going forward with my own projects. Is it the conventional path? No. And I'm good with that. I've always sort of been the one that's not quite conventional, I guess. With starting YouTube, everybody thought I was crazy, and here we are. So I think it's just shown me to, again, like I said in that short video I did recently, you got to dance for you. And you've got to not worry about pleasing everybody else, because life is short. And that's sort of what the pandemic has shown me, my priorities, what I want to do with my career, and that family is very important. What is your funniest backstage story from your time in a company? Oh, well, there were lots. The way people come off stage is highly interesting. You kind of get some of the dramatics where some people will throw themselves to the floor. You'll get some swearing. You'll get some, well, that was interesting. That's typically what I do. Like, well, that was interesting. So it's just, I don't know, backstage is always weird. There was one, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. Probably. There was a nutcracker where it used to be, this was when I was in New York City Ballet, still in the core, so it was ages ago. It used to be that, for every performance, still, you have to sign in. Everybody's on the list, sign in so they know you're there. But what used to happen is that the registrar would come sign us in. They'd see us in, it was a matinee. So if you were in class, they'd say, oh, well, they're here for the show. Well, there was a casting mix-up for the soldier doll. And somehow both of them were in class. But each of the other one thought the other one was doing it. And so the registrar marked whoever was supposed to do it as there. And no one noticed. Never occurred to anyone. We're all ready for party scene. I was grandmother in that show. We're all getting ready to go. And, in City Ballet's version, the 3 boxes come out. And, of course, what really happens is the dancers crawl into the box and Drosselmeyer opens it. And it's magical. So Harlequin and Columbine went. And then, again, doesn't occur to anyone that anything is wrong. Robert LaFosse was Drosselmeyer. Thank God it was Robert LaFosse, a superstar, consummate professional. I mean, he's former principal of ABT and everything. He's like a master character artist as Drosselmeyer. Opens the box for the soldier, and there's no one there. There was no soldier doll. And we're all like, what do we do? So Robbie LaFosse does the entire solo himself as Drosselmeyer. And like full out, like did the whole solo in the beard, in the eye patch, in the Victorian heels, did the entire solo himself. And he got the biggest round of applause. It was unreal. And I still don't remember who was the soldier doll. It was not about who was the soldier doll. It was the fact that Robert LaFosse did it himself as Drosselmeyer. That was pretty good. A good memory. I have a couple of bloopers on here. The power went out one show. Tyler Peck and I collided in snow one show. In terms of backstage, though, I mean, there were some scary moments. A couple of people got injured on stage and had to crawl off stage and couldn't finish. There was another good one that New York City Ballet is so big, or was so big at the time, that for jewels, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, very rarely was a double cast. You might do the core of emeralds and diamonds, but some of us only ever did one jewel. So I only ever did emeralds, but I was a cover for diamonds. And because I was quick, going back to being valuable, somebody went out during emeralds and they needed for diamonds, they needed somebody to go into diamonds core, and they are running around the theater looking for me. It's Katie can do it. I was on stage doing emeralds, but that didn't occur to anybody. So they're running around the theater. I know, where is she? I was on stage. So I didn't end up doing it because they had to throw somebody else into it. But I just found that was funny. They were running around the theater looking for you. And I was like, I was on stage. Couldn't possibly have done it. So that was funny. Just stuff like that. Sets breaking, props being dropped. It happens. It's live theater. That's how it goes. But the Drosselmeyer one, I will never forget. Okay, so the last question is actually the most common, which you guys are amazing. You're amazing. You're just asking me how I am. I'm fantastic. I know we haven't done an update in a while. Chris and I are fantastic. Plugging forward with what we're doing. And family is good. My parents are good. The dogs are good. We just saw them a few weeks ago over spring break. I hadn't seen my parents in over a year. New Year's of last year. So it was like a year and a half that I hadn't seen my parents. But they're doing great. Pups are happy and healthy, and Dixie's as smart as a whip, and Luna's just Luna. Carson's still kicking. All is good. Lots of exciting things in the works, career-wise, that I can't believe is happening. So I'm just thrilled. So stay tuned for that. I'm one of those people, I don't like to tell you things too early in case things don't fall. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tell you too early and have it fall through or whatever. I will be updating you on any big things that happen, but right now we're just going to keep plugging away. Kathryn Morgan and Friends is going to keep plugging away. And it's going to be big. It's going to be big because of all of you. And I think, like I've said in a recent reel on Instagram and that recent video I did on here, bringing the joy back to ballet is my number one passion now. It is my number one goal. And that's bringing the joy to you when I teach you, hopefully bringing the joy to you if I ever perform for you, and making it more inclusive, making everybody get back to why they love ballet in the first place. Because we have really gotten into this thing of you start ballet for whatever reason, but it's because you love it. And then you see yourself in the mirror, and over time things are said to you, and you're not good enough, and this isn't good enough, and you look terrible, and you're too fat, and your feet, and da-da-da. And then you lose the whole point of you starting in the first place. So I want to get back to that for everybody. And that is sort of my message moving forward. And that ballet is for everybody. One thing I want to reiterate to all of you or tell you is one of my adult students said this to me. Ballet is for everybody. And it's gotten to the point where I've realized that unless you want to be a professional dancer, you are not taken seriously. That's why adults are not taken seriously. That's why many young students are written off. Oh, they're never going to be a ballerina, so I'm not going to bother. Let me tell you something. I'm going to get a little preachy here for a second. Ballet is for everybody. Just like sports in school is for everybody, not everybody who signs up for the swim team is going to be an Olympic swimmer. Not everybody who plays football in high school is going to be a professional football player. But that doesn't mean you can't be part of it. That doesn't mean you can't do it for the love of it, do it for fun, do it for the physical aspect of it. And somebody said this to me, and it blew my mind, and I want to share it with you. It was one of my adult students. And she said, Katie, you know how you play the piano? I said, yeah. She's like, you know how you play it because you love it? I said, yeah. She goes, you want to get good, right? I said, yeah, I always try and get good. She said, you want to play new pieces? You want to improve your technique? I said, absolutely. She said, do you want to be a professional concert pianist? I said, no. She goes, that's me with ballet. I want to get good. I want to refine my skills. I do it because I love it. I do it because it makes me happy. and I want to improve and be as good of a dancer as I can, but I do not want to be a professional. And I went, because that means that's why adults aren't taken seriously. That's why so many people who do ballet are not taken seriously, because they don't want to be a professional dancer, so then why are you here? It's stupid. It's like me playing the piano. I want to get good. Do I want to be a concert pianist? No. Do I ever think I'll be a concert pianist? No. You know, does everybody who signs up for the swim team going to be Michael Phelps? No. But it doesn't mean they can't do it because they love it, and not only do it because they love it, but want to improve or be taken seriously. So that's sort of where I'm going with ballet now. I don't care whether you want to be a professional dancer. I don't care whether you think you can or not. If you're taking one of my classes, you're taken seriously, and I will help you improve. And I want to bring the joy of all of it to you and have you find that again and know that you're important no matter who you are in my class. And no matter who you are, if you're on stage with me in a Kathryn Morgan and Friends show, that is the point of ballet for me now. This old regime of the hierarchy in the front of the room and I have to be the star. Done. It's over. It's over. And if ballet wants to survive, that's how we have to be. And so that is my new passion moving forward. Okay, speech over. So, love you all. You asked great questions. Hopefully those were all new ones I haven't answered before. If you missed that video where I just talk about why I dance and my love for it, just a little artsy film I put together. It's right down there. You can click it to watch. Love you all so very much, and I'll see you next time.